Hey guys, it's Anarchy ASMR here, and I just wanted to do a quick rambly video just about stuff. I actually wanted to talk about something I got back into recently, which is, by the way, a new webcam that I got back into recently, which is professional wrestling, which is as embarrassing as it sounds, but also entertaining. Um, Most of you know professional wrestling as the Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant thing. But when I was younger, I was a huge fan of it. I watched it religiously. Even when everybody made fun of me for watching it, I still loved it. I wore the shirts. I bought the school-themed stuff. And when I was younger, I even went to my parents took me to a SmackDown show, which was awesome, which was the highlight of my young life. And then when I was about 14, 15, I kind of fell off and stopped watching it altogether. So it's been about 4 or 5 years since I've watched it. And I got back into it recently. It's weird because a lot of stuff has changed and a lot of stuff is exactly the same as it was before. But I figured I would go over that. At some point in my haze of nostalgia, I bought a brown bag special from TNA.com, shopTNA.com, which is TNA is Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. You might have seen ads for them. Their show airs on Spike Thursday nights, and they film most of their shows right up the road from me at Universal in Orlando. So in addition to the fact that I went to one of their pay-per-view tapings, which I'll get into a little bit later, before that, I needed a shirt. That's all I really needed, because it's a sin to go to a wrestling show without a wrestling shirt of some kind. It doesn't even matter if it's for a company, the same company, or a wrestler that still works there. It's just a sin to show up in like a plain old shirt. So I went online and I went to their site and I looked at their stuff, and they had a cool deal, which was $25 for a bag, three random DVDs, a random T-shirt, and like an action figure and a banner or something like that. And I already opened it. I already know what's in here, so I'm just gonna run through it and talk about everything a little bit. Talk about the event and see where that takes us. So first off, it came in this drawstring bag right here. It's the titular brown bag. The TNA Wrestling logo on it. It's actually a good bag. Like, it's a drawstring bag. I can hold a few little things in it. I've actually used it before, carrying a few things to glass. So, yeah. If you see me look off camera, it's my microphone is right there. So. I just realized the way I'm rubbing this bag is, well, could be misconstrued if somebody were to walk in this room. Alright, let's see what's inside. did come with a t-shirt, like I said, but I don't have the t-shirt on, and I'm not going to go grab it. It was an ODB t-shirt, for anybody who cares to know what that is. So, first thing was an action figure. Of course, all of this stuff that came was random. That's why it's only $25, because really they're just trying to clear out some inventory. But the t-shirt I got was actually a brand new shirt that cost $25 by itself, so I was really happy with that. So yes, a little action figure. It's Matt Morgan, who I believe retired in like 2009. So, you know, big gap. But you know, it's nice. I don't collect action figures. Even back when I was a little kid watching, I wasn't really big into them. But you know, if that is your thing, definitely it's cool. You can actually see on the back one of the figures. This was a real early series of figures. This is all the way back, like I said, when Matt Morgan was with the company. On the back you can see Shark Boy, who actually was one of my favorite characters. It's such a stupid gimmick, but he was a good wrestler, and the crowds just loved him. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. You can also see Kevin Nash, Jay Lethal, Sting, Velvet Sky, Matt Morgan, and then a separate ring that you could buy. Also kind of weird, I just noticed, was on the front and right around here they still show the six-sided ring. TNA used to, one of their kind of differentiating features was they used to wrestle in a six-sided ring, closer to kind of like closer in style to like an octagon you might see in UFC fighting. And then I think in 2010 they shifted to a four-sided, regular wrestling ring. Just because a six-sided ring, I think, cost too much. And it was much bigger, so it cost too much to transport and stuff like that. I don't know. Okay, so got that. I got 3 random DVDs. Or 4 random, I'm sorry, you get 4 random. First one, Best of the X Division, Volumes 1 and 2. They were 2 separate releases that they packaged together, which is nice because I was always a big fan of the X Division. The X Division, for those of you who don't know, is kind of like the Cruiserweight division in the WWE. And if you don't know what the Cruiserweight division is, it's lightweight guys, very quick, small, normally. Very high-flying matches, lots of high spots, which is a term meaning a big, exciting moment in a match. one I got was Hardcore Justice 2010, which was like an ECW reunion show that they did, which is awesome because I was a huge ECW fan when I was a kid, and I still am now. I think that you can't even call yourself a real wrestling fan if you don't think ECW changed the face of the whole industry. They did something new and unique, and it was never gonna become mainstream or popular. But if you meet a wrestling fan, at the very least they know what ECW stands for. It stands for Extreme Championship Wrestling, whereas before it stood for Eastern Championship Wrestling while they were still a member of the NWA. But they left in 1994, the year of my birth. Wrestling trivia for those of you who do not care, which is good because this is boring you. You're already on your way to sleep. I'm also a subscriber to the WWE Network, which was kind of a weird investment, but at $10 a month, you can't really complain. Provides me with a great amount of entertainment. In fact, I just watched the WWE Extreme Rules pay-per-view because I wanted to put off having to think about my math final tomorrow that I am almost definitely failing. But lucky for me, the course I'm going into doesn't require that math credit, well, I need it as a prerequisite, but I can make it up by passing math for liberal arts 1 and 2, aka math for people who are going into a career that isn't something involving engineering. Yay, film degrees. And the third DVD is Sacrifice 2007, which is a sort of unique pay-per-view in that it was the last pay-per-view to feature the NWA involved with the company. The TNA had an agreement with NWA that they could use the NWA titles, and they were essentially an NWA member, probably the last major one. And then the NWA suddenly, on the night of the event, pulled out and said, "You can't use our title anymore." And on that night, they wrestled a match. Christian, I believe, won. No, Kurt Angle won, I'm sorry. And the next night, in a storyline, they stripped him of the title and then had a tournament for the new TNA World Heavyweight title, whereas before it was the NWA TNA World Heavyweight title. And I don't know why NWA backed out. TNA was probably the last major promotion to be a part of the NWA, and they pulled out shortly after, and now the NWA is basically relegated to a few indie promotions throughout the United States. Nothing too big. And last but not least, in the brown bag special was a giant banner. I'm not going to unfurl the whole thing. It is of Velvet Sky, half naked, and it's a giant banner. It's like 2 feet wide and like 3 or 4 feet tall, and it's when I get my own place, I'll hang it up like on the inside of my closet door because it is the gaudiest thing ever. But it's also a half-naked woman, and I can only be so respectful and non-idiotic, so of course it's getting hung up somewhere. It's only barely a step above, like, hanging up Playboy pictures, really, and it's only because it doesn't have any actual nudity. So I guess that was nice. If they had given me one that's like the Impact logo or something like that, I probably would have hung it up now. Just because my walls are kind of bare right now. I have one poster for Grand Theft Auto 5 hanging up, and I have a few more posters for Watch Dogs and Infamous Second Son. Also, that I'll probably hang up when I get to my new place. Because I want to be, I just want to let any woman that walks into my apartment know that that's what you're getting. Okay, now I'm gonna just talk about the pay-per-view I went to. Okay, I went to TNA Sacrifice 2014, filmed in Orlando at the Impact Zone, which is Soundstage 20, I'm sorry, at Universal Studios Orlando. You can get in for free. In fact, that's how they do most of the shows they film. You just show up early, get a raffle number, and then they'll just call you, kind of at random. But I paid for a VIP ticket package. I was going to go with a few friends, but they kind of backed out, didn't have money, just admitted that they had no interest in seeing wrestling, which is, I totally understand. So I ended up just going solo, because I'm pretty comfortable doing stuff by myself. I would have loved to go with friends, but I was going to miss the opportunity because it's the last show they're really putting on till after summer, so 3 months or so. So I went, bought a VIP ticket, which meant I got early entry. I was the 32nd person in, which in a studio that fits 1,400 people is pretty good. I sat near the entrance ramp, and you can actually see me at several points throughout the broadcast if you want to go check that out. You can torrent it illegally, which I absolutely don't support. Or you can rent the pay-per-view replay on TNA's YouTube page for $40, which is whatever. Wait a year. It'll be 99 cents like the rest of their pay-per-views from last year. Or like 15 bucks or whatever. It'll be cheaper. Anyway, yeah, you can see me. At one point, you can actually see me super clearly, and I have this weird, kind of pseudo-confused face. Which really was me at the whole show. I sat next to some cool folks. One guy next to me was pretty funny. We didn't really talk, but he just said some funny stuff, and I laughed. It wasn't one of those things where I talked to anybody around me or made lifelong friends. I chatted up some guys, one of which was from the UK, or Australia, I think, actually, after the show. But that was about it. Nothing too much. But yeah, you can see me on there, and I guess I'll just run down the matches. The first one was the Bromance. Robbie E, Jesse, and DJZ, or Zema Ion, versus the Wolves in a no disqualification handicap match. Really good match. Really high flying, really energetic. The crowd, even though it doesn't really come across it in the pay-per-view broadcast, because for some reason they really downplay the crowd audio in the mix that they do. It made that sound like it, but the crowd was mental for the Wolves. Absolutely loved them. And I have been keeping up with TNA only for the last few weeks. Back in the day when I used to watch wrestling all the time, I loved them. They were my arguably favorite because they were kind of big time with these big name stars right out of my home state. So I loved it. But I kept up with TNA just for the few weeks before the show, just so I knew all the storylines and who were the bad guys and the good guys going into things. But the Wolves, really talented guys. The Bromance are talented in their own right. Good match, quick match. Yeah, Wolves win it. And it was a good way to kick off the show. Crowd was pumped. They were ready to go. And it was overall just a great match. After that was Mr. Anderson versus Samuel Shaw in a committed match. This pay-per-view was kind of gimmicky filled, the matches. So the point of this match was that the loser would be put into a psychiatric van, a padded psychiatric van, and taken to a psych ward because wrestling's dumb and beautiful all at once. Also, a really good match. I couldn't see a certain part of it because where I was sitting, and they went to the outside. But at one point, they brawled on the entrance ramp, so I was mere a foot or two away from the guys while they were doing their thing. Pretty awesome. I saw my first ever close-up chair shot, which was insane. It doesn't look or sound that bad on TV. Let me tell you, if I had gotten hit with even the flimsiest of metal chairs in my back, like that guy got hit, I would die. My spine would snap in half, and I would forever be finished with everything. But these guys just took it. Mr. Anderson's a great worker, and Samuel Shaw is good at getting beat up. That's really all I did in the match, and I don't really get his character. I didn't like it. He's very sort of generic. He's like a bad villain from an 80s giallo Italian horror film. And I think they'll probably do away with him for a while, which is the point of the committed match. The third match, and I'm looking over at the Wikipedia page for it. The third match was Kurt Angle and Willow, who is Jeff Hardy in a get-up, versus Ethan Carter III and Rockstar Spud. The crowd was super hyped for Willow, just because everybody loves Jeff Hardy. And Kurt Angle got a nice pop too. EC3 and Rockstar Spud are two hilarious guys. I think they work really well together. And EC3 is a pretty talented worker, and Rockstar Spud is just very funny, willing to do everything. His gimmick is kind of a joke. He's not taken seriously as a wrestler, but he goes out there and he does what he needs to do, and he gets over. Pretty basic match, pretty basic tag match, kind of chaotic in the beginning, and then it breaks down to a more regular flow. EC3 pulls the classic heel card of not wanting to get involved with the match. Rockstar Spud gets destroyed by Willow. Willow gets the pin after a swanton bomb. Pretty standard stuff. Crowd was pretty into it, just because of the people involved, but nothing special. The next match was for the X Division Championship, and was the final match in a best-of-3 series. It is Sonata from Wrestle 1, on loan from Wrestle 1 in Japan, against Tigre Uno, on loan from AAA in Mexico. So the kind of whole build-up to this was a kind of clashing of the styles, Lucha Libre from Mexico and Strong Style from Japan. For those of you who don't know, Lucha Libre is the masked wrestlers. The most popular one would probably be Rey Mysterio here in the States. Very high-flying, very quick, very focused on speed and agility. Strong Style, on the other hand, is the popular style in Japan, and it is a style of shoot fighting. And basically what that is in wrestling, a shoot is when something is real and not planned or staged. So shoot fighting is when they try and mix real hits and kicks and real martial arts moves into their wrestling moveset. So in between like suplexes and backbreakers, you'll see stuff like classic amateur wrestling fireman's carries, or real elbows, or real kicks. And they enjoy that style because it makes wrestling seem like a very professional combat sport. As far as the match goes, very good match. A quick one, less than 10 minutes from what I'm seeing here. And it felt like it, but not in a bad way. It felt like a very quick, snappy match. Both guys got in some good offense. Sonata was over, but Tigre Uno probably got the biggest pop. Pop being applause. And they just really went at it. Some good high spots, some good moves on both sides. Sonata comes out with the victory. Unsurprisingly, everybody knew what was going to happen. The next match was my match of the night. The I Quit match of Gunner versus James Storm. Now Gunner I didn't know who this guy was. He was one of the new people who creeped in while I'd been away. And he's not a great wrestler. Okay, proficient. Good. Not great. James Storm, just a little bit above Gunner, maybe a step or two. Can definitely pull off really good looking moves, but has a kind of limited moveset. But this match was just an all-out brawl. They just went for each other. The time says 30 minutes. It felt like 10. These guys just seemed like they were non-stop going at each other. Some brutal hits with chairs and trash cans, just tough stuff. I mean, like I said, it doesn't look like it hurts that much when you hear the pop of a trash can, those little thin aluminum ones. You know, you think they're thin and aluminum and they're just easily bendable. But when you hear the bang, when they hit somebody's head, it's utterly sickening, but awesome, because wrestling fans are nothing if not bloodthirsty. Also, the first match of the night to feature blood. Gunner gets cracked open at one point. And starts bleeding, wearing the crimson mask, as they say. Great match. Great all-out knockdown brawl. I love hardcore wrestling, even though I know a lot of wrestling fans think it's trash, but it's just great. It's brutal. It gets to the point. It's a great way to end a feud. Excellent, excellent match. If you're gonna check out a match, check out that one. It's long, but it's filled with high spots. The next match was for the Knockouts title, which is the Women's Championship. Angelina Love with Velvet Sky, the Beautiful People, versus Madison Rayne, who was the champion going into the match. Good match. A bunch of people were really over for Velvet Sky, who wasn't even competing in the match. She was just at ringside. But a ton of fans were there. Decent match. The crowd was respectful. You know, applause and cheers, whatnot. Women's wrestling isn't really looked highly upon in the wrestling world. Even though there are some women wrestlers who rule, who do really good work in the ring. I wouldn't say Angelina Love is one of those people. Madison Rayne probably is. Madison Rayne can do some good stuff. Angelina Love is more. She has a great gimmick. She does the gimmick well. But she's not a great wrestler, which is kind of disappointing that she won the championship. But she won it in an underhanded heel or bad guy way. So, understandable. And that's going to lead into a feud. Probably with Gail Kim or someone like that. Again, more information for those of you in the know. Yeah, Angelina Love wins by underhanded means, and becomes the first 6-time Knockouts champion. Crowd kind of applauded. They did a decent job in the match, and we moved on. The penultimate match, the tables match with Bobby Roode and Bubba Ray. It's a pretty standard tables match. Featured one of the stupidest ref bumps of all time. The ref literally just falls down, clearly while never even being touched by any of the wrestlers. It's awesomely bad. But people go through tables. The crowd goes nuts, me included. Classic screw job ending. Dixie Carter comes out, pushes Bubba off the table. And if you're watching the pay-per-view, that's the point where you can see me closely, is when Dixie Carter takes off her fake beard and glasses. I am standing directly behind her in the green Minecraft jacket, and my face is something like so which really was the whole show. Decent match. It's a tables match, I mean. And our main event was Eric Young defending his world championship against Magnus, who he'd won it from a week earlier. I have always been a fan of Eric Young. I liked him going all the way back to his days in Team Canada. Plus, he shares my name, even if he's spelled differently, but keep it in the tribe of Erics. We stand together. This was a great match. It was a clean wrestling match. No screwjob finishes, no interference, no nothing like that. Just a straight up wrestling match, and a very well done wrestling match. I'm not as big a fan of the actual wrestling as I used to be when I was a kid. Now I like it for the production and the showmanship and the kind of gimmicks and storylines, but I can still enjoy a well-done wrestling match between two guys who really know what they're doing in the ring. That's what this was. Each guy went in there, gave it what they had, and it was better for it. Eric Young, EY gets the clean win in about 15-20 minutes. Overall, the show was awesome. It was my first live show since that SmackDown I went to with my parents, 5, 6, 7 years earlier. And it was great. I had gone to a WWE NXT taping the week before that. You can actually see me in the latest NXT episode that's up if you have WWE Network. I am the guy in the green jacket right behind Triple H in the opening of the show. And that was awesome too, but I won't get into that because that one was way longer. That was 4 hours. This pay-per-view was 3 hours, but it didn't feel like it went by very quick because it was very fun. You may think wrestling looks boring on TV, and I can understand that, but if you get the chance, go see an indie show, go see, WWE or TNA when they stop by your town, do it. It's a great experience, a great time. Wrestling fans can be some of the worst people around or some of the best you'll ever meet, and either way, it's awesome. But yeah, that's all I had to talk to you guys about. Sorry this video maybe didn't feature more sounds or something like that, but it's 1:30 in the morning and I just wanted to make a quick video. And maybe I'll make this a sort of monthly thing at the very least of just reviewing kind of wrestling shows. I'm going to more by myself or with friends, doesn't matter to me. I know I'm going to go to the NXT tapings at the end of this month, and I'll probably go see TNA again when they're back. I just caught the bug again that I had when I was younger. It's awesome. Feels good. Yeah, so that's all I got for you guys. Leave your comments below. Sorry, I haven't been responding to your comments. I see them all, though. I thank you all for the love. It's great. Thank you so much for continuing to support me, even with these, few and far between videos that you get. I would like to say it's because I'm really busy, but unfortunately this time that's not the case. I'm just a lazy bastard. And I'm also going to wrestling shows, which is, I could use my time. But thanks a lot, guys. You're great. Thank you. You're perfect. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. You're all special angels and other stuff. Yeah. Thanks. All right. See you guys soon.